Hello, good morning. I am Kayla, and it's nice to see you. I have a tarot reading for you today. It's been a weirdly anxious morning for me this morning, and I was a little surprised when my guides were like, "Do a tarot reading for the collective," and I was like, "Okay." So perhaps you're having a bit of an anxious morning yourself, but let's see what they have to say. So I invite in the collective's guides who are of the highest good, integrity, 9 and above. I ask that you provide us with the information that we most need to hear today. Okay, immediately, I'm not going to take all of these, but I have the Knight of Coins. And this is a really interesting card because even though he is accompanied by this, brute of a companion, he is on an uphill battle. It's snowy. It's one of those things that feels really challenging. But the beauty of this card, being that it is in the coins suit, is it's very rewarding. Like, it is a reward in the journey, not only in the outcome, right? And so whatever this is, and earlier I made a post about spiritual discipline, and that is what this card really represents. It is this discipline in order to, it doesn't even feel like necessarily a goal, right? Like, to be completely honest, you being human right now was the goal for your soul. And so you're here in this life, live in it. And there are times when it feels really challenging, but that reward is not only when you return back to spirit, right? That reward is in the growth that your soul gets to experience in this journey of life. Now, that may be the broad macro, or we might be able to boil this down into this season and this challenge that you are currently facing. All right, Source, give me a little bit more information for the collective. What do you need us to know at this moment? Woo! All right, so a lot of cards are coming out. Hierophant, the Fool. Okay, I want to cherry pick the ones that resonate, but they're like, no, all of these. So I have Death reversed, Temperance. I do have Ace of Coins in reverse, and to me, this is saying that that like financial stability, independence, a true like prosperous, abundant type of lifestyle feels a little bit out of reach, unattainable for you at the moment. And then I have Chariot in reverse, High Priestess in reverse, Knight of Swords, and the Six of Pentacles in reverse. And these came out in 2 separate decks, so I am feeling a little bit like this is separate energy. So the first set of cards that fell out, the Hierophant and the Fool. The Hierophant represents our spiritual wisdom, and often I attribute this, especially paired with the Fool, it's like taking that spiritual wisdom, because you have an old soul. This is that spiritual wisdom collected from lifetimes of not only being human, but also a spirit, your higher self, your soul, and etc. Whatever other forms you have taken. And so taking that spiritual wisdom that you have attained, and I'm feeling a lot of Akashic Records energy from this. Your Akashic Records are dense. You have a lot of impact and information in there. And taking that spiritual wisdom that you have attained and bringing it down into the physical in a lighthearted and joyful way so that it can fuel your path forward. And you see here, like, she's basked in this light. And I recently talked about having that source consciousness or that Christ consciousness encoded in every single one of our cells. And that's what this is giving me. Allow source to be your fuel. Allow source to give you that renewed energy, that renewed spirit, so that you can continue on your journey. This is not to bypass the density and like the struggle that is occurring right now. We're in a very dense time. We're in a huge time of transition. This is heavy. And your soul incarnated here for a reason. I know you're sick of hearing that. But with that Fool coming up, it is a lighthearted playfulness. But the Fool is not ignorant. They are not naive, right? They choose to take on this this new beginning, this new adventure, that fresh start, because they know that it's worthwhile. And yes, there will be moments where you question or doubt and it feels a little tougher than other times, but you know that the payoff, that reward is great. And so even in moments when our ego mind forgets that prosperity of spirit, that benefit, that reward of this journey, our soul always remembers. And so that is that reminder to return to spirit, ground yourself in that knowledge of you are source incarnate, right? You are this tiny little fractal of source energy. Your journey here is important to yourself and your soul growth, but also to the collective. With death being in reverse, followed by temperance, I'm getting that this is a really big time of transmutation. And there's a lot of times transmutation feels like a lot of resistance, right? You're taking like that old belief that was really set in its ways and you're changing that. You're seeing things in a new way. You're allowing your subconscious, your shadow, to be presented with new ideas. And a lot of times there's heavy resistance to that. And it could be a silly example, but if you drink coffee every morning and then spirit comes in and says, hey, actually, I need you to stop drinking coffee. Those first couple of weeks are going to be rough. You're going to have resistance. Your ego mind is going to say, hey, don't you want that coffee? You feel so much better when you have that coffee. But when you stick with it and you continue to reform that habit and reinstate that habit, right? In a couple of weeks, you're going to be like, oh my God, I actually have way more energy. I feel way more energized and fulfilled, and my body feels healthier and revived, and et cetera, et cetera. And I say that with a coffee waiting for me right there off camera. But that is the example of this transmutation. And so when we're in this really heavy time, and these are several major arcana cards. So that is to note. These two specifically, death in reverse and temperance, showing that one, you do have the skills to bring these spiritual thoughts, these spiritual beliefs, and make them manifest into the physical. But it does require a dying to the self, which causes our ego to have a lot of resistance. So recognizing that. And I feel like this is more of a bridge card. I'm not exactly sure what set of cards this goes to, but it feels like the bridge. The Ace of Coins in reverse. This is a resistance to the abundance. And this could be a resistance to your own spirit. This could be that resistance to meditating and connecting with yourself. When we have been trained so heavily in the ways of prioritizing other people, making sure other people's needs are met before our own, making sure that we are behaving in a societally acceptable way, or in whatever your family bylaws and codes of conduct were, right? It's really hard to then show up in a different way. And so this resistance to connecting to your own spirit, I get that. I was raised Christian. And so when I had my spiritual awakening and really began to pursue the spiritual path, I had a lot of resistance, like a lot of fears, a lot of old beliefs came up. And so it was a lot of really heavy shadow work. I'm double checking with spirit just to make sure this is what we're talking about. But yeah, it feels like your spirit is on the brink of an expansion and you're having a little bit of resistance. You're having a little bit of, it's not quite fear. It's almost like a disbelief. That isn't possible for me. I've never seen proof of that. I've never seen that play out. And so God is here, Source is here, promising miracles, saying, hey, actually, this Ace of Coins is for you. That beautiful abundance of spirit. And when I say abundance of spirit, that doesn't always mean finances in this world, but it does mean peace and security within self. Okay? So it can be taken either way. But Source is saying, hey, I have these promises, these gifts, these rewards for you. And so what our task right now is to look at, why am I having resistance? Where is this resistance coming from? Why am I having a disbelief that this is possible for me? And even if I'm having some disbelief, can I trust in my higher self and Source to show me that it's possible? And maybe you start small. All right, Spirit, I'm having a hard time believing that I can have financial abundance. Bring me 10 pennies today. And so we have a lot less resistance to 10 pennies than we do to $10,000. And in this, and that's the challenge that Spirit wants you to have, is bring that playfulness in. Ask your inner child, how would you approach this? How would you approach this resistance? Inner child, I'm having some disbelief, but I know that it's possible because Source and my angels have told me it's possible. So show me how I can believe in this again. And that then, when your inner child says, well, go frolic in the park, or stop for that extra coffee, or hey, say hi to this friend, or whatever silly little adventure it sends you on, follow through with that, because that is the spiritual wisdom. Okay. That's the one thing that I love so much about spirituality, is it is often so simple and so easy, and our ego makes it so complicated. Our human side is complex and dense, and our spirit side is like, I saw a butterfly, that means I'm getting $1,000. $1,000. There's my inner child. I love her so much. Okay, so moving into the second part of the reading, we have the Chariot in reverse, which is, okay, that's interesting, followed by the Knight of Swords. The Chariot in reverse, immediately when I picked that up, I felt like this is something that you have experienced. You have seen, and perhaps it is in those small ways, you have seen where Source can bring in miracles. You have seen. Okay, so restart. The Chariot often means that something is on the way, and often pretty quickly. In the reverse, this is telling me that in some lifetime, on some level, energetically, these gifts and these prosperities and these rewards, you know they exist. You know that you have them. And this could very well be the spiritual gifts that you've attained from previous lifetimes. So the one way that my team likes to show it to me is, in my past life, I was a dragon. And I've had many, many lifetimes of being human and etc. And so they've shown it to me, like all of the gifts and all of the prosperities and all of the monies from those lifetimes has been put into a spiritual bank account, like a big old cave of wonders, right? And so whenever I'm like, oh my gosh, what about finances? What about money? I have to human. They're like, excuse you, you're actually rich. You have an entire cave of gold. What are you talking about here? And that seems like a little bit of a silly thing, but it really helps my ego go, oh, right, let me just rebalance myself. And so this Chariot in reverse is telling me, like, these are things that you've already accomplished. And it might not be in this lifetime. Maybe it is. But these are things that you've already accomplished. It's just you're not currently seeing them with your physical eyes. We need our ego to get out of the way a little bit. Yes, this is a physical journey. Pinnacles on the board. We are talking human stuff. This is a human journey, and our human is having a hard time. But spiritually, we have the map. We know the path. We know the trajectory. We already have the rewards in the bank account. We just have to make a withdrawal. That's the kind of energy that is coming up. And so with the Knight of Swords coming forward, this feels like shadow work. I'm tired of shadow work. I understand. I hear you. But the Knight of Swords is one that takes swift action. He doesn't always weigh the consequences, but he acts from like a really heart-centered place. And so this swift action, I feel like perhaps you've been taking action from like an anxiety-fueled place. No shame in that. We've all been there. Recently, okay? But the Knight of Swords does need to be tempered with that spiritual wisdom. And so this is really your spirit team coming and saying, hey, you have a lot of human wisdom. You have been through and experienced a lot in this lifetime alone. We are not discrediting that. That human wisdom is important. But you have not been balancing that with your spiritual wisdom. You have a lot of spiritual wisdom. Your Akashic Records is thick, okay? You have like an entire library just for your records. So you have a lot of information and wisdom there. And there might be a little bit of clashing from what your human understands and what your soul understands. And so the challenge right now is bringing these two together in that temperance point, finding stillness, allowing the path to be revealed, surrendering, and learning where the dissonance is and how can we clear that dissonance. A lot of times what I've found is really simple. It is sitting in that stillness and allowing Source to encode the new frequencies. All right, Source, I found the dissonance is between this place and this place. Let's bring these back together. Let's bring energetic harmony here. And so the High Priestess, I did pull it in reverse. And this is Persephone. The light and the dark, right? 6 months in the underworld, 6 months in spring. Beautiful, gorgeous energy. You can grow the flowers and you can command death, okay? You're badass. I love you. But this coming out in the reverse, following these, is just really telling me that you're disconnected from self. We need a little bit of self-love. We need a little bit of spiritual discipline. And that doesn't have to look like hard work. A lot of times our ego, or at least my ego, will come in and say, oh, okay, I see that I need to make a change. Now I have to change my entire schedule. I have to add 10 things to my plate. And my spirit is like, no. Actually, higher self is like, actually, I just need you to take a nap and then eat a bowl of ice cream. And I'm like, what? That doesn't sound very spiritual. And she's like, you're tired. I need you to rest so that your body can heal. And then you create more space for spirit to come in, right? And so a lot of times that self-connection and that spiritual discipline means making things a little bit simpler for you. Where is your human getting hung up? And there is one key frustration that I keep feeling. Perhaps work doesn't feel as perhaps work doesn't feel as profitable as you believe it should. Perhaps, your home life has been a little bit extra challenging. Maybe you're just exhausted and finding that you don't have the time for self-care that you truly desire. The High Priestess in reverse comes in and says, one, there's some heart tending that needs to happen. It can really be as simple as a 2-minute prayer as you're falling asleep. Source, higher self, please surround me with love and heal my energetic coding while I sleep. Whatever words you want, but that intention of align and heal my spirit body and my physical body while I'm sleeping. And allowing that to come in and allowing your spirit team to support you. And then the final card of this little section here is the Six of Coins in reverse. This is a card of balance. It's similar to Temperance in that the Six of Coins can often, it's almost like a success point where we feel like, yes, I have that balance between physical and emotional. I have that balance between like having my needs taken care of. I'm physically supported, right? So with that coming in reverse, you're feeling unsupported. I love you. I have been feeling that way also. And only these past 2 weeks have I really been like doing the deep dive shadow work and understanding where this is coming from and working with my spirit team to clear up those energetic codes. So I feel you. I hear you. I understand. These are dense times. I'm here to support you. I do have sessions if you want, reach out. But Source is there for you, and Source will often show you the way that they support you through, an interaction at the grocery store. Maybe somebody you haven't talked to in a long time texts you. Maybe you reach out to somebody and say, hey, I was just thinking about you. Hope you're having a good day. And then you start a conversation and you feel more supported that way. Perhaps it is eating ice cream and watching your favorite movie while curled up on the couch, right? Right now, your challenge, I am challenging you to show up for yourself by saying, how can I support myself right now, today? And then following through with that. That could be making sure that you write in your journal for 3 minutes. It can be that 2-minute prayer. It can be putting your bare feet in the grass. 2-3 minutes, whatever small or big ways that you need to be supported right now, show up for yourself. One of the ways, this is such a silly example, but one of the ways that I only over the past year or so started to support myself was making my bed every morning. And I know that sounds crazy, especially for people who already make their bed every morning. That was not a discipline that I was raised with. I didn't have to. I didn't care. I loved my big messy comforter, so it didn't matter. And then after I ended a short-term relationship, I was speaking to my spiritual counselor, and I was like, one of the things that were like really cute that I really enjoyed was that he insisted on making my bed. Every time that he was at my house, he would make my bed, and I wouldn't notice it until he left, and it would make until he left, and then it would make me smile, right? And so she challenged me. She was like, okay, now you have to make your bed every morning. That's how you're going to show yourself that you love yourself through this transition. And that is something that I didn't expect to bring me so much joy, but I made my bed this morning and I looked at it and I smiled and I was like, oh my gosh, I love myself. And so support yourself in these small ways. They really do make a big difference. Remember to rely on your spirit team. Ask for the signs. Ask for the support. Archangel Michael, protect my energy. I'm having a hard time with anxiety. Help me ground this. I will often, here's my quick, easy prayer for when I'm like on the go. I don't have the time to do like a full energetic thing. Source, protect my energy. And often I visualize that as either white or golden energy hitting my crown chakra, dispersing around my aura, and then through each of my centers, right? And then Gaia assists me in grounding, and so that energy shoots into the ground. And Gaia is always more than happy to receive any excess energy and assist me in that grounding. And I have built that relationship, so I know that that's there. But whether you feel it or not, you can ask for that support. Gaia assists me in grounding. And then usually I ask my higher self and or Archangel Michael to come in and just assist with that energetic cleansing and support of protection. To be completely honest, I put like 6 protections on my energy at any given time. So, Source, protect my energy. Gaia, assist me in grounding. Higher self, Archangel Michael, assist me with further energetic cleansing and protection. Thank you so much. The end. I want to pull you one more card just as your closing card. You are loved and supported. You have a lot of spiritual wisdom. Lean on that and find the balance between spirit and human. Your closing card is the 9 of Cups. She is so supported by these spiritual beings. Cats are our spiritual protectors. So she's being healed by these 2. I'm sure they're purring. They're giving her that magic, right? And then she has these as her guardians. They are looking out for her. She is protected. She has the warmth of the fire. She has her cups of tea or coffee, whatever her snacks are. She gets to rest in spirit, spiritual rest. And I'm feeling called to read this from the book, just so you can. This is my Austera Tarot. Love this deck. Absolute favorite. Here we go. 9 of Cups. Accomplishment, pride, indulgence, rest. A woman is comfortably curled atop a pile of large cats. The 9 of Cups is a card of fulfillment. This card represents a state of pride, like that of an accomplishment of hard work. This card may also suggest that it's time to treat yourself and indulge in a high-ticket item that you've been pining after, or indulgent self-care. Wink, wink. Or perhaps allow yourself to relax, spend a day in bed, slow down, and be happy with all you have accomplished. Whether you're seeing it in the physical or not, you have accomplished. Just surround yourself with love. I'm here to support you if you need. Please subscribe if you have not already. I love you, and I will talk to you soon.